mucho que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo a tenerte y perderte después.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, band. Eleanor Dubinsky and Dario Acosta Teich. A virtual round of applause for the one and only remote daily duo, often copied, never reached. On live here on Remote Daily, and welcome, as always, from New York City, bringing together innovators for a daily dose of inspiration and support. This is what we do here on Remote Daily, and I welcome you all. Today is Friday, May 15th. My name is Felix Zeltner, and I'm very excited and honored to be your host in our virtual cafe here. For the first part of the hour, we host an amazing guest and discuss today's topic is building culture remotely. Such a big one. And we will hear from somebody who is not only doing that, she is actually doing it right here on this platform that we're using every day on Zoom. Super excited to talk to our guest today. And we are also live for this part of the hour on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Hi out there. Thanks for joining us. If you want to be here in the Zoom room, just go to remotedaily.co and sign up for your personal login. It's the real deal here on Zoom because for the second part of the hour, we turn over Remote Daily to you every day to connect with each other in breakout rooms and make new friends and find new ways to make business. On a personal note today, it's been 8 weeks now that we have been hosting Remote Daily. And we started it really to be here for our community. We created an open Zoom call, not a webinar, that serves as a safe space to connect with each other, to learn together, foster understanding for each other's experiences in this very, very strange and rough time. And I have to say what happened since is something of a miracle. And I just want to use today, because I see many, many friends here who have already joined us, to just show a few examples of this miracle that has happened here. We have a deck here where we collected a few numbers on Remote Daily. We're now at 1,500 live subscribers, which is amazing. It just shows, not only on Zoom, this is on, of course, it doesn't even show the hundreds of thousands of people that have tuned in via LinkedIn and YouTube Live. And we have a community that has become somewhat of a second family. People are canceling other meetings for this. They call this their daily oasis, their place to regain mental stability. And there are many out there who are here every day. And there are also many people who send us emails saying, sorry, I can't be here today, but please keep doing this. I'll come back. This is amazing. And people have given us feedback that I think is better than anything I've done before. And it's just an honor. And one of our distinguished speakers that has given us amazing feedback was Mark Cuban. Just a few days back, he chose to spend almost an hour here with us. And he loved the band. He loved all the rituals that we have built just as much as you do. And he said, hey, why can't all content be like that? And I think, this has become much more than content. This is really maybe the interactive talk show of the future. And I want to thank you for being part of it and for making this happen. I'm going through the motions every day, just like all of you out there. Every day is a different challenge. But I'm lucky to have an amazing team. It's behind the scenes. My partner, Christina, she's a big part of care of the kids. Jolie, who is always in the background, running the live stream for us. And of course, Britt and Grace, my amazing co-hosts, taking turns in producing, facilitating. and also conducting interviews. And today, Britt has her well-deserved day off, and Grace is here with us live from her new old home, I should say, the UK. Grace, it's great to see you. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy day with childcare, but it's 6:10 here, so soon it will be time for much wine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Christina just told me that she sometimes, when you wake up, already looks forward to that moment when our little one is going to bed again. So I'm totally there with you.
Yeah, I feel that too, yeah.
I'll pass it over to you, Grace, to sync all of us with the thing we do here every day, our grounding breath. Here you go.
Thank you very much. So hello to everybody. It's really nice to see you all, see some new faces as well. So this is something that we like to do just to kind of make sure that we're all present, and I turn my phone over because it's always there and in my periphery, so I just make sure it's face down, and we just take this moment to really kind of connect to Remote Daily and be present if we can. So if everybody can just put both their feet on the floor, I'm going to just guide us through 3 deep breaths. So if you can just close your eyes and put your hands either on your knees or on the chair, and just feel the chair underneath you, feel the ground under your feet, and just begin to kind of settle into your body. So we're going to go in for 3. So in, hold for 2, out for 3. In, hold 2, 3, out. 2, 3. And last one is the deepest breath of all. In, hold 2, 3, out. 2, 3. Give your shoulders up and back. Move any parts of you that just feel a bit tense. Shake it out. Flutter your eyes open. And we're back. Back over to you, Felix.
Thank you so much, Grace. And I just heard that my connection was a bit unstable. Can you all just give me a quick thumbs if you can hear me okay? Is everything arriving okay? Thank you so much. That said, I invite you all to just turn on your video for a moment if you feel comfortable doing so. Swipe on your Zoom app or click on Gallery View on your desktop app just to say hi to everybody. Because there's a lot of people here that have become friends and that are here every day, or almost every day, and they're like family. And I would just want to give a huge shout out and say hi, but also say hi to everybody who's new. So first of all, Joe, great to see you. John, Kyoko, of course, Linda, Tommy, Deborah, Yvonne, Miriam, Cindy, Christopher, Sabine, Jan, Michelle. All of you have been here before, and a warm welcome to Brian, Jana, Annalie. I think I've seen you here before. Hi there. Cindy, of course, you've been here before. Nick, hi, good to see you. And of course, our amazing guest, Farah, is here. Great to see you as well. And everybody out there on the live stream, it's great to have you with us. If you have something next to your screen that you can raise and cheer with us, please do so. Coffee mugs, in my case, it's some orange juice. Welcome to Remote Daily. This is your virtual cling for today. Cling. And I have to throw another screen share in because something happened that I have never seen in my life. I had my birthday this week, and I got a group card from the Remote Daily community wishing me a happy birthday. So I just wanted to say that is so sweet of you. Thank you very much. So many of you have contributed here and left very warm wishes. I was really moved by that. Thank you. This is something I've never gotten, and it just, makes me feel even closer to you, even though we're physically not in the same space. So thank you very, very much. That said, it is time to welcome our fabulous guests of the day, and of course we do that in here on Remote Daily with our amazing house band and the exclusive Remote Daily jingle live.
This is Remote Daily, your daily dose of inspiration. This is Remote Daily, an oasis of innovation. For your mind, soul, and heart, connect, act, and recharge with Remote Daily. This is, what is it, Darty?
Remote Daily.
Remote Daily.
Thank you, band, and please welcome customer success manager customer success team manager, and I should say Zoomfluencer. Welcome to Remote Daily, Farah Faraclas. Hi, welcome. Virtual applause for you.
Thank you so much for having me, Felix. I'm really excited to be here. This is definitely my first session. I'm normally in team meetings and having one-on-ones with my group during this time. I'm in Denver, Colorado, so it's just right before lunchtime here, but I'm already hooked. So hopefully I can clear some time maybe once a week to rejoin this group. I really like everything that you've kind of set up so far.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, especially coming from someone who spends their life not only with and for Zoom, but also on Zoom. We would love to host you here every single day, as so many others who are in the room with us. It is the new event. And we became friends, first of all, virtually on YouTube, I shall say, because the first time I saw you was on a video, and I'm going to just share the screen here for a second, called Zoom 101, Securing Your Meetings and Virtual Classrooms. And I found this video just after you published it because we got Zoom bombed here on Remote Day, very intense experience, and I was very grateful to find you explaining what we can do better. I watched it many times. I shared it with everybody who was on the call that day, and you helped many people since with this video. It has now over 140,000 views. Can you maybe describe a little bit, not only reveal to us if this is your real background, see on video, but also what was going on in your team at Zoom during this time in late March?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I will, this is my home office. I'll go ahead and share with you. I am in my office right now. And I can talk to you a little bit about what was going on at Zoom. I think we're all on a very similar timeline. I do think it kind of, COVID kind of swept the country, I think a little bit West Coast to East Coast, but we're probably about week 10 on our remote work from the Denver perspective, but I think it's about week 12 for our California counterparts. And so we sort of saw this tsunami wave of folks coming over to Zoom rapidly. I mean, we're talking just the increased volume of, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. I mean, there were just so many people that flocked to Zoom. And part of that is education. And at the time I was managing our education team. So think about every K through 12, every university that said, we can't hold class anymore. We need to go remote after spring break. What are we going to do? All of those users coming over. Zoom had also lifted the 40-minute limit specifically for K through 12 schools because we recognize how important education is. So we were getting a lot of frequently asked questions coming through to my team on the education side. I also manage a different customer success department that we call one-to-many at Zoom. And there was just such an increase of questions, and we weren't sure how we were going to handle the volume of emails coming through. So I thought, all right, I'm going to help my team out. I'm going to make a couple videos. So the majority of the videos I made, I think, on a Saturday morning, just get these done, get them out there, not anticipating that our marketing team would put all of them on YouTube. But what we saw within, the first couple weeks, especially with students that wanted to get out of class, I think it probably started innocently enough that students were posting links to their classrooms. Get me out of math class, get me out of science class. I think that's kind of how it started. And so I made that video as a response to hearing a handful of feedback, from teammates who had talked to customers who had this happen. And that's sort of where we were. That video was made, I think, ad hoc at probably 6 or 7 o'clock at night at the end of one of the days, just like, all right, let's just focus on a few features so that we can help mitigate the issue from happening.
And before we talk about remote culture and the crazy time you're going through building that, can you maybe, as a custom success person, say how the number of customer requests have developed since the pandemic began?
I mean, everything is just exponential. I'm sure you can see we have several blogs that actually kind of detail the increase that we've seen in meeting minutes and users that have come. I think that we've been in the top 3 on downloaded apps for business for a couple weeks, if not months at this point. And certainly the fact that Remote Daily is using Zoom, we can see that across the board, there have been a lot of use cases for Zoom that everybody's just kind of jumping on. It works. We know that. And so we're happy to see that it's an easy platform for people to leverage during this time. That, of course, increases requests for how do I use this? How can you help our teams use it? Can you provide us more examples and use cases? And of course, the support component to that as well.
Mm-hmm. For everybody who has joined us, we're live here with Farah Faraclas, Customer Success Team Manager on Zoom, talking with us about building remote culture. And culture in the kind of pre-COVID world was many times kind of, oh yeah, we have a ping pong table, and people were kind of sugarcoating it a little bit. But it now, I think, is more visible than ever that it is about the way we work. It is about how we talk to customers and clients. It is about how we communicate with each other. It is also about how much we work. So what can you share at this moment about how Zoom works?
Yeah, so from the culture component, I think what was really interesting is that even though we provide, Zoom as a service to help people connect remotely, we've always been very culture forward as an organization, and that comes from the top down. Delivering happiness is a slogan that you've probably heard over and over, and it's not just delivering happiness to our customers, but we truly try to deliver happiness to each other internally as well. And so part of that is we do have offices. We love going into the office. We love sitting with our teammates and the fun banter that happens from day to day, and the ability to just kind of overhear someone's conversation and jump in and help them, resolve their problems that they might be having with customers, or, however we can help. So the shift to going completely remote, I think, was a little bit of a challenge. I mean, some people have been working remote the entire time. I know I worked 4.5 years remote in my last company before Zoom. So it was a little bit of it's kind of like riding a bike, like, okay, I remember this, and you get into your habits. But for the volume that we were going under, I think what we noticed were people that continued to work from home. And I'm sure several of you may have had this experience as well, that the volumes you all probably went through similarly increased, right? There's a higher demand for any service that can be done from home, as well as the essential services that are out there. So it's not just a shift in how do I work remotely, it's a shift in how do I work remotely and handle, triple, quadruple volume from customers. So the first thing that we did was we set up opportunities to connect, and similar to Remote Daily having this sync at 1 p.m. Eastern time, the first thing I did was set up a daily standing morning, just to stand up, like 15 minutes, come if you can, it's completely optional. And it's how we can set the stage for who needs help with what today. Is there something you're working on? Is there a video you need to create? Is there a new process document you want to create? Who can help you with it? How can we all pitch in and help? I also set up a lunchtime meeting so that people could just eat lunch together, something that we did in the office anyway. So you could ask each other questions while you're having lunch, maybe share what you made for lunch, maybe bring your pet on camera. It was a little bit more relaxed. And then we also instituted what we're still doing it, and we call it email happy hour. And so it's from 5 to 7 p.m., knowing that during the day, trying to prioritize all of the emails that come through, but still wanting to respond to everybody every day if possible. There are some emails that would get left to the end of the day. So usually between 5 and 7 o'clock at night, we'd jump in a call and we would just kind of chat while we were all doing emails. Oftentimes you'd see that there were similar questions coming through. So one teammate could help another teammate out with their answer just to kind of move through those emails more quickly. That really, I think, helped create bonds that we didn't think were going to happen, or we could have never expected would have happened. My team is spread out across the country, so I have all time zones within my team, certainly core members in Denver, but a lot of presence in California and in central time zones as well in St. Louis and Kansas City. And so it was pretty interesting to see, especially between the multiple offices in California and remote workers, how everybody came together just from those syncs alone.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just looking at the chat. The chat is open for all of you to ask Farah questions. Yvonne just mentioned that there's an Othello theater production on Zoom, and I'm sure Farah, you have seen many other unusual things that were not happening on Zoom before. Is there something that you are doing now that you have developed just over the last couple of weeks as a kind of format that you would have never imagined doing with your colleagues or friends?
There are a couple things that we started doing. I think one of the first things that we instituted was a team playlist. So again, I love that you have the band here because I do think music is one of those common languages that brings everybody together. And so in the beginning of our team meetings when we would sync, I would tell everybody to just grab their phone, open it up, doesn't matter what's on there, but tell us what are you listening to? What's the last thing you listened to on Spotify? So I created a Spotify playlist, and it's interesting to see, I think, the moods and the themes that we've all kind of gone through on a similar vein. And there was another time that really stood out where, this started in the winter time and we're middle of spring now, but it's one of the first nice days. A couple flowers had come up, the leaves weren't on the trees yet. And I told my team we were going to test something. So I need everybody to join from your mobile phone. We need to test something out. So once everybody was on their phone, I said, all right, we're going outside and we're taking a team walk around the block. And everybody across the country, wherever they were located, we spent about 5 or 6 minutes, and I went through our housekeeping updates while I was on a walk around the block, and everybody seemed to really, really like that. But that's something we would have never done if we were in the office.
We have many different communities that are part of Remote Daily, and one is the community of creators and the community that creates culture and art on Zoom. And Eleanor just reminded us that it's still pretty hard for the music community to meet on Zoom because it's very tricky to jam together because of the delays. It's of course tricky regarding performing rights. Is there any maybe resource you can point us towards when it comes to Zoom as a platform for live performing arts?
Yeah, we have had a lot of people leverage Zoom for band practice and for performances. You will need to check your settings and make sure that you're using original audio. That will help the sound come through. If you're seeing lags that are based on your internet connection, your network speeds, you might want to turn your camera off so that at least the audio comes through.
Thank you, very helpful. Talking of tools, Farah, I have to ask, you use Zoom different to many of us because you're almost constantly on it. You share your life with your colleagues. But are there other tools that help you building this remote culture? What is the suite of tools that Zoom is using internally besides Zoom that help you, establishing the culture that you in physical distancing times?
I think most of us, we always like to say that we drink our own champagne. And I think the majority of people at Zoom are still leveraging Zoom the most. We have a chat tool that's built in. I know some of you are chatting within the meeting, but we actually have our own instant messaging platform that if you download Zoom on your laptop. So we have chat groups that are going on. There's actually several culture groups we've created, things like the Colorado hiking group. We have a ski and snowboard group chat. Pretty much for any interest. There's a music chat as well. There's a podcast chat. Any interest that you have, we have a chat group for it going. There's the pet chat for dogs is called Rough House, which is kind of funny. But I know a lot of people have adopted puppies during this time. So that's a pretty popular chat to be in as well.
And just to understand, how do these chats function?
It's like any other instant messaging platform. If you download Zoom as a tool, you'll see that you have the ability to add people in by email address as long as they have a Zoom account, and then you chat them. Instant messaging. It's pretty straightforward. We have the ability within the chat itself to thread chats as well and add reactions and emojis. So we definitely have fun with that. Part of, I think, even just the culture of really focusing on the individual at this time, making sure that everybody feels connected and that we're all in this together, is really hyping up our teammates too. So we have basically a celebrations chat. So if somebody gets a really positive email feedback back from a customer, we celebrate that, but we're also celebrating things like birthdays and milestones. We created a secret chat for one of our coworkers who got married during COVID, and basically her entire wedding was going to be canceled. So we created a side chat, about 100 people in it. We all brainstormed on what we could do, something special that we could do as a team. And we ended up making a 15-minute video for her and her husband. And we sent it. I managed this person, and I sent her an email on Friday. I kind of felt bad doing it, but I said, this is really, really important. I need you to check. This is a mission critical email. I need you to go check it. And then she logged in, and it was, we had sent a gift, and we had sent her this video just wishing her and her husband the best weekend ever and celebrating them. And so that was something that was kind of a fun project to work on for the week.
One thing that I think many people are struggling with in this crisis is not only physical health, maybe job loss, but it is really mental health. And of course, remote work has a big impact on that. And Annalie just asked a question that is related to that. Do you, in your own company, have agreed on social norms or rituals for Zoom meetings that are shared and observed that help maybe people building more resilience or improving mental health?
I don't know that I think as a company, Zoom, as I mentioned before, delivering happiness is kind of our motto that we really root everything in. But I also think there is something to be said. I think each team is in a way its own tribe. And so I think team by team, each team will have its own rituals. I know for our team, the Spotify playlist is a big one. We always try to start out with some sort of icebreaker. Whether it's saying like, what's your spirit animal, or what's one word to describe how you're feeling today, or one of my personal favorites is highs, lows, and uh-ohs. So we just kind of go around and tell us one positive thing, tell us something that maybe you're struggling with that we can help you with, and the uh-oh could be something funny. So whoops, didn't mean for that to happen, and that kind of helps bring connections. But at the company level, I think we kind of leave it individually, allow that creativity team by team.
In the chat, we get some more technical questions for you. And as a customer success leader, maybe you can relate to them quickly. So there's a question about pinning individual streams in specific spots while on gallery view. There is participant video feeds, which I think you just rolled out, right? There's now separate recording for participants' videos. I mean, all these questions show how much time people have spent on Zoom trying to figure out your tool and really mastering it. Maybe you can answer some of these more technical questions for us.
Sure. There are a few to go through. The pinning video one.
Pinning individual screens would be a first one.
Let me go back. Can you tell me the name of who submitted that so I can?
Yeah,
just look at the
Jessica
names?
Quest was having this question. Has Zoom given any
Got
thought
it.
to finding
Yep.
ways to pin individual screens?
Yeah, so right now the option is to pin the video or to use gallery view. So it's one or the other. In terms of pinning in gallery view, are you saying to make a specific order within gallery view? Got it. So yeah, that is a feature request that's out there. I'm sure most of you have been following the blog that right now our main goal is a 90-day plan to make sure that Zoom has all the security enhancements. So stay tuned for that feature. Certainly, if any of you have great ideas, I would say submit them after July 1st. And you can submit them if you're a customer directly at support.zoom.us. And we have an amazing product team who takes every single feature request into consideration. In 2019, we had over 300 new features and product enhancements based on ideas from our customer base.
Are there any you can share that will
No.
enrich this tool over the next couple of weeks?
Not on this meeting, I don't think so. Right now, our main focus is just on those security enhancements, as I mentioned, but fun features, roadmap for future in the year, I'm not able to share at this time.
Mm-hmm. And Annalie just rephrased her question, or maybe I got it wrong. She says it's less about mental health. It's actually about productivity, inclusion, productive meetings, circulating agendas, assigning roles. So is there kind of a social contract for remote work around that with Zoom?
So again, what I can really speak to is what I did within my team. Certainly a customer success team is going to operate differently than a support team. It'll operate differently than a product team. And it's also going to operate very differently than a sales team. So kind of aligning with where your roles are, what your objectives are. And I can absolutely speak to what we did on my success team. So, the first thing was setting up those opportunities to connect to make sure that people had that inclusion and were connected in. But then it was also, checking in with users. So I had a midday check-in on top of the lunch where every single day it would be a midday check-in. I'd post some sort of announcement, housekeeping. Certainly, I think if all of you have been using Zoom and if you've been following us on the blog, you've seen that we have rolled out changes quite rapidly to try to address some of the pain points and the growing pains that we've had in seeing the volume of, supporting a lot of the world that has moved to Zoom. And so we made sure that we kept the transparency and the flow of communication out there for the teammates, but then also focusing on the individuals. So my teammates will joke about the hours that I was working as well, but I would always make time. So if a teammate said, I need help with something, we had the inclusive meetings, but I would also make sure that we had one-on-one time, or I would try to delegate with other teammates to say, can you help out? One of the things we would do once a week is I would ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Sometimes we'd have 3s and 4s, and sometimes we'd have 8s. And I'd ask the 8s to go connect with a 3 or a 4 to see if there was something they could take off their plate. But that also kind of lended to that flexibility. So starting with where this discussion started, the videos that I made, that was a byproduct of saying, how can I help my teammates? And so I jumped in and we saw that on every level from everyone in the team, putting on a different hat, whether it was a support hat, whether it's a solutions engineering hat, whether it was a sales hat, whether it was a billing hat. Everybody kind of jumped in to help each other out. They were all leveraging their areas of expertise to really pull up their bootstraps. The other thing, that we did is just kind of remaining empathetic and being flexible with maybe you need to take the afternoon off and that's okay. I did get to a point where I started mandating a rotation of Fridays and Mondays off so that my teammates could have a 3-day weekend so they could go focus on their family, focus on anything they needed to do to make themselves feel whole. Or, I know personally, I can speak personally to this, is that sometimes you can get so lost in your remote work that you look up and it's 9 o'clock at night and you haven't done your laundry, you haven't washed the dishes for the day. You can kind of let your home environment go. So giving people this time back to themselves to, take care of their home environment and their personal space first, I think was very valuable for everybody as well.
Joe just mentioned in the chat that you sound like a fantastic manager and leader, and it's a very, very kind share here. Thank you, Joe, and I can only attest to that. And maybe that's saying that, Farah, may I ask you maybe to also share some vulnerability here with us in this safe space. You've been with the company for 4 years. You've seen many phases. You're one of the more senior people there. What for you personally are the biggest challenges right now in building culture and just doing what you do every day?
So that's a really interesting question. It's so funny when the first wave hit, I felt so invigorated. I remember what it was like when I started at Zoom when we were very small. When I started, there were less than 400 employees globally. And so I remember having a team where we wore all those hats and we jumped in and we worked crazy hours to push things over the line. And everybody pitched in and everybody was happy to pitch in. And it reminded me of that. It was very invigorating. And then we did get to the point where I think maybe by week 6, we thought, well, how long is this going to last? Everybody was getting a little bit tired, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. So Zoom, we've been aggressively hiring since pretty early on in the COVID phase, but there's always a step and a layer to the hiring process and how long it takes to actually get people in and then also get them on board. And so I think one thing that happened is a very positive thing. My team grew so large that I actually split the team in half, promoted a manager, promoted some team leads. And so that was very exciting for the team. I think one of the growing pains right now is that separation that's starting to happen. It's inevitable and it's important. But we've kept the team together for a couple of weeks just to make that a smooth transition for everyone, since we're 2 teams now. And I know that it's probably coming in a couple of weeks when we're going to have separate team meetings, and that I think there will be a little separation anxiety from the community that we've built. And then with that, I've also hired enough people that it could be its own team, just on the new hires. So bringing the new hires up to speed on the product while also making them feel included, making them, recognize that they're valued members of the team, and also trying to connect them to other people that they have never met in person is I think the next challenge I'll be facing over the next month.
And maybe as a question to almost wrap up, Farah, is there a mechanic, a meditation, a tool, an app, a social channel you follow that has helped you just getting through these last couple of weeks? Something you can share with us?
I follow Chrissy Teigen's Instagram, and it is literally the highlight of my day every day. I think she is hilarious. I think she just has a really good outlook on everything. I love her sense of humor. It's very open. She doesn't take anything too seriously. So I think after being very focused for a full day, it's always nice to have 5 minutes to kind of laugh. I would say that's probably my number one go-to.
And I just shared it here in the chat for everybody. And maybe a last question to you, which is a big one. And I'm putting you on the spot here. We haven't compared questions before, but is there one story that you think you'll tell your grandchildren about this pandemic that you can share with us?
Oh man, there will probably be a lot of these stories. I think, I think the team building that we did that was more spontaneous, I think will be the things that probably stand out. I know the team walk really stood out. There was one day where I don't remember how we started talking about this, but we ended up getting everyone to share their prom photos. People had to dig deep for some of these prom photos, but the stories that kind of went around them really helped people learn more about each other. There was one time where we just decided to play a game instead. So we played Drawful on Jackbox games, and that was pretty hilarious. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, I hope that the takeaway for my team is that they felt supported, but I also felt supported by my team. And that camaraderie, I mean, we've compared it globally in customer success, even we've compared it almost to going to war. I don't know if that sounds awful, but anytime there was a challenge, somebody would say, "This is Sparta," and we'd all post all the GIFs and memes. But we really put our trust in our leadership and trust in each other. and you could feel it. And I don't think I'm ever going to forget this time, and I'm certainly never going to forget this team.
A large round of virtual applause and many thanks to our guests of today. Farah Faraclas from Zoom, thank you for sharing these moments with us, and thank you also for teaching us how to be human on Zoom and build culture together in these very challenging times. Thank you, and with that, I want to also say thank you and bye to our live stream audience on LinkedIn and YouTube. See you on Monday.